Hello everyone, welcome back again to Automation 24/7. So today we are going to discuss a very important question, and that is asked in most of the interviews in Java. So this is regarding like counting the number of words in string. So you will be giving a string. So whenever user will be writing a string, we just need to count the number of words in it. Now it's a very common question, a very common interview question, common coding question in Java that has been asked, and you will be finding the solution of this almost everywhere, like in YouTube, Google, in any other tutorial websites, everywhere, and most of them has a common solution. Like there are two common solutions what I've seen, and one of them basically they do a for loop like this. Like in the for loop, basically they just check and count the value accordingly. And also there is another way, this basically using the split method. Now there are two drawbacks of this, and how to overcome that drawback I'm going to show you. So I'm going to show you a third method, like a separate method that will work in all conditions. So what happens using these two methods that has been found in almost all the websites and all the platforms, so there you will be getting this. But sometimes what happens when you enter the string with spaces before the string, if you're adding spaces, or in between, or after the string if you're also adding spaces, then sometimes the word count doesn't come properly, right? So to overcome that, I will be providing a third method basically that will be considering spaces also, right? So if you enter spaces, that will also give the proper word count. So coming to the first thing, so let's discuss how the drawback is coming. So in this like old method, not old method, basically the common method, one of the common methods is basically you scan a string. So you enter the string, you scan using sc.next line, then you declare a count value, okay, as 1. Now from I equals to 0 till the length of the string minus 1, increasing I at every interval, like at every iteration. So at every iteration what we do, like s dot character I, if it is containing spaces and the next line does not contain space, then we increase the word count. So the first s dot character at 0, so starting from 0, so when s dot character at 0, which is basically the starting of this. So suppose this is a string, Java is a language, so s dot character at 0 is Java. Now this does not contain space, and the next, basically the next value, like the next part of the string is basically it is space. So the next character of that string is a space. So 0 plus 1, it does not contain space. So count value will only increase if at that particular time my value is blank and the next value does not contain space. Now here it is reverse. At 0, character at 0, it contains Java, I mean it contains some word, and the next character, which is 0 plus 1, this contains a space, this contains a space, so my word count does not increase. Now when my s dot character is 0, I mean when my s dot character is 1, so what happens, now the pointer is shifted to here, so it is pointing to here, right? So what happens now, basically here it is blank, yes, and the next character, which is, so 1 plus 1, so s dot character at 2, so this does not contain a space, yes, this does not contain a space, it's a value. So at this point of time when the pointer is pointing, it has a space, and the next character is not a space, so it satisfies this condition and my count value increases. Similarly, it is going like this. So whenever there is a space at my current character and the next character does not have a space, so at that point of time I increase my count value, and accordingly I will be checking my count, printing my word count. Now if I run this, so enter the string Java is a language. The string Java is a language has 4 words. Very good. Now if I run again, what happens basically is space, 3 times space, the city is clean space. So before the starting of the string I have entered spaces, and also after the string I have entered spaces. So now it says the string has 5 words, but it is having 4 words. So this is one of the drawback of this method. There is another way which you will find in most tutorials, and this is using this split method. So here also if I run the program, the number of words in a string is 4. Fine. Now if I run the same string, space Kolkata space is space clean, the number of words in a string is 10, although there are 3 words. So I have entered the spaces in between, also before the starting of the string as well as the end of the string, and this is taking a wrong word count. And in this method what I am doing, like what is basically done, it's splitting the string with spaces and it's converting into array, and accordingly it's just counting the string array. Okay, just counting the string array. So this also has a drawback. So what can we do to overcome this problem in both of these methods? So we will be following a third way. So before following the third way, let's discuss the algorithm for it. Otherwise there's no point of writing program, right? So what we are going to do basically, we are going to wait, let me just make this a bit okay. So what we are going to do, at the very first, we will be maintaining 2 states. Maintaining 2 states. Now what is this 2 states? In and out. Okay, and why we are doing that? Because the first state, which is out, so that will be indicating that a separator is seen. Separator, rather space, is seen and no word is there. So whenever we will be traversing through the string, like whenever we will be going through the loop, and whenever we will be seeing in the string there is no word, there is either a separator, like instead of a word there is any separator, say any space is there, at that point of time the state will be out. Okay, and whenever there will be any word, then we will be considering the state to be in. So it's nothing, out and in is basically 0 and 1. So static, like we will be declaring this out and in as static. So out is basically 0 and in is basically 1. Okay, so you consider this as 0. So whenever there will be any space, the state will be, like the status or the state will be 0 and 1. So whenever there is any space and no word is there while traversing, like when the loop, in between the loop, so whenever there will be in the string, whenever the loop will be traversing through the string, and in that string whenever there will be space, so the state will be 0, and when we will be getting any word, so the state will be 1. So in case of 1, like whenever it will be 1, it will be So word has been seen. Now whenever a word is being found, so the state will be 1. Now what we are going to do, we are going to create a static function. So we will be creating a static function which will return my word count, which will return number of words in the string, and this is only my criteria, this is only my output that I want, right? So in this function, in this static function, we are going to like do something which will return the word. So what we are going to do, first we are going to declare the state as out. So we are going to declare the state as out. So here we will be declaring a static variable as out, which is basically 0, and also we will be declaring another static variable as in, which is basically 1. And the purpose I have already said, for 0 it's if it will be 0 if space or any other separator is seen and no word is there, and the state will be 1 whenever the word is seen, or like the loop basically gets the word, okay, in that particular string. So declare the state as out. Then what we will be doing is we will be declaring word count as 0. So this is a variable, right? This is a variable that we are going to declare word count. So initial level, this word count is 0. Okay. Then what we are going to do, we are going to scan all the characters. Scan all characters one by one, right? So we are going to do while loop, because that will be fruitful, that will be better for use in this particular case. So while loop, we are going to, like, here I is basically, oh, before that, so scan one by characters one after another. So after that, what we have to do, we have to declare int I equals to 0, that we have to do. And while string dot length, okay, so while I less than string dot length, so what we are going to do in this while loop, first we have to check if the next character is separator. So currently, if my string is Java is a program, so right now I'm pointing to Java. At the very starting, I'm pointing to int I equals to 0, right? So my state will be 1 because I got a word. Whenever I will be getting a space, my state will be out. So in that way, we are going to follow the program, right? So what happens if next character is a separator. So if next character is a separator, then set state as out. So as I said, if the current character has a word, now if the next character is a separator, like if the next character is a space, then the state will be out, and that is what we have discussed here. So what we are going to do in the next step? In the next step, what we are going to do is, now if next character is not a word separator, like is not a space, basically if the next character is not a space and state is out. So currently what happens, suppose there is a space here, So it starts from here. Previously there was no space, now here is a space. So now at the initial level there is a space. So wherever there will be space, the state is out. Okay, so the state is out. Now when I go to I equals to 1, I'm getting a word, and my state will be from out to in. So in the third step, what we are going to do in this while loop is basically, if next character is not a word separator. So previously we were here, the next character which is Java, and that is not a word separator. It is not space, it is a word. So when this is a word and the state is out, because previously it was pointing at I equals to 0 and it had space. Therefore my state was out. Now here, when I'm getting a word, so what happened? My state will be in. So from state equals to out, my state will be in if my next character is not a word separator, right? So if next character is not a word separator and state is out, then set the state as in and increment word count. So whenever I will be getting a space, my state will be out. Whenever I will be getting any word, my state will be from out to in, and my word count will be incremented, right? Now coming out of the word, now also we have to do one thing. So we will be incrementing the word count, and also what happens, I will be moving to my next character, right? So move to next character. So move to next character, how will I go? So to move to next character, I have to do I plus I, that means increment the I. Okay, and basically after coming from the while loop, what we are going to do is return my word count. So this is basically my algorithm. So we will be declaring two static variables, basically static and final. So static, final. So one is int. Why static? So that we can use this in any instance and its value will not be changed. And value will not be changed in other instances of the class. So final also means it will not be changed. Okay, it will always be 1 and 0, right? So based on this out and in, which is 0 and 1, we will be just checking the states, and according to the states, okay, whenever my state will be in, okay, my character count will increase, and again I am going to follow the next step, and out after that, when I am done in my loop, I am going to get my final word count, and then I am going to print this string has this many word counts. So let's go to my IDE. Let's create a new program. So I have my so I've created a class. Now what I will be doing is outside the main method, I'm going to declare the variables. static final int in equals to 1, right? I've already explained the purpose of it, right? Now I'm going to use a function, a static function, which will basically, now in this, just a second, I forgot to give the name, so count words. Okay, so I'm going to pass the string into this. Static void, but it will not be void because I'm going to return the word count, right? So let the error be there, I will be fixing it after some time. So here what I'm going to do, declaring the state as out, let the state be out. Let be considered that at the very beginning of the string there is a space or there is some word separator, so let the state be out, right? Then int word count wc, let this also be 0 at the initial level, let this be 0, and let me declare int I equals to 0, which I will be using in my while loop. So starting the while loop, so while I less than string dot length, right? If string dot, now we are also going to consider the spaces. So if the next character is a separator, we are going to give the status out. Okay, so if string dot character at I equals to space or string dot or so at the current value, if there is space, or if there is a new line, or if say string dot character at I contains any tab value. Okay, there can be like any tab value, right? Okay, then my state will be out, right? Okay, by mistake I just gave this. So if anywhere So if anywhere my string dot character at I equals to if it is blank, or like if it has any new line, or if it has any tab, my state will be out. And any word separator, any whenever there is a space in the string, my state will be out. That is what I discussed. Else if state equals to out. Now if the current state is out, if the state value is out, then we will be making the state as in. So state will now be in, and we will be increasing the word count, right? We will be increasing the word count, okay? And we will be increasing the I value as because it's moving to the next character, okay? So from I equals to 0 till I less than string length, anywhere if there is any space at the current character, like character at I, if there is a space, or if there is a new line, or if there is a tab, my state will be 0. And if the state is out, like if my state is currently out, okay, then my state value will be changing and I will be increasing my word count, okay? So if my state value is out, and the next level it will be getting assigned with like as per this thing, okay? So if next character is not a word separator and state is out, then set the state as int and increment word count, okay? So if the next character is not a word separator, so next character is not a word separator and state is out, okay? Next character is not a word separator, state is out, so state will be in and increment the word character, and I will be incrementing my I value, right? So this is basically the logic. Now what we are going to do, we are going to return the value of, we are going to return the word count, right? So we are going to return word count. So whenever we return word count, so this is accepted as static int. Previously it was saying as static void, okay? So this logic will actually solve the space problem, okay? Now what I'm going to do, basically I'm going to use this, not this, like my previous cases. So enter the string, right? Enter the string, okay? So now I'm going to use this function. I'm going to pass this string, which is basically going to do this operation. So let's have a look now. So enter the string. Kolkata is in the east. Okay, I forgot to print the statement actually. Uh, okay, just a second, guys. Okay, so now let's run. So George in the jungle, number of words 4. Now again, if I'm going to run this, so as you can see, before the string there are spaces, after the string there are spaces, and still it is counting 4. Let me run again. So now I'm going to run, like, say there is a very good place in USA. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 characters, I mean 8 words. So 8 words. So irrespective of whatever is my separator or space in between the string, before the string or after the string, it will print my exact word count, and this solution is very helpful. So thank you for watching. Hopefully this helped you to find the number of words in the string with taking into consideration